are live.
Awesome. Thank you, Connor. Good morning, and possibly, depending on wherever you're at, could be good afternoon. My name is Joel Eberhardt. I'm commercial product specialist on the feed and manure team with Lely North America. I'd like to welcome you to the fourth episode of the Lely Live webinar series, where we'll be talking today about ideal feeding. Doing a little bit of a different format today. As you can see, I've got somebody sitting to my left, probably your right, and another gentleman online. I've got Dan Schreiner, who's online. He's our product manager for the feed and manure teams here in Lely, North America. Dan, how long have you been with Lely?
Yeah, I've been with Lely for 14 years now. But with the I started with the Vector right when it was introduced, like 13 years ago now. So been working on the feeding side for quite a long time.
And I've been with it for 10 years. So yeah, we got a lot. And before that, you were FMS as well, right, Dan?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and with me today, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, I've got Jason Boss, owner and partner in Tower View Dairy in Mount Calvary, Wisconsin. Doing things just a little different today. Thought rather than having Lely people just talking about a few things that, from our vision and what we see, bring in a producer and questions that can be answered by him, some things that might more naturally flow his way. We would like to have him be able to answer those. So please put your questions in the live Q&A. We're not going to wait until the end. We're not going to talk for 30 minutes and then deal with questions, but would rather you talk or bring your questions in as we're going through this discussion this morning. So hopefully that'll keep everything flowing really well, and we'll try to see if we can deal with that as time comes. As I alluded to, the title of this is Ideal Feeding. I think we all have a vision in our head of what we think ideal feeding is. I kind of want to cover off on maybe 2-3 points that relates to that today. What is it? What do we think it is? Why do we think it's important? And then maybe, hopefully, we can get more talking about the tactical stuff on what it is that we can do to achieve that. So I guess maybe to kick this off this morning, Jason, I think I'd like to ask you, what is your thought on ideal feeding? But maybe before you answer that, I'd like you to maybe talk a little bit about your dairy, the evolution of it, where you started with automation, and then maybe that can kind of follow into what ideal feeding looks like for you.
Sure. So family farm, mom and dad. Dad loved cows, loved dairy. Mom went with them. I grew up as a farm boy. All the years of growing up, didn't know if I wanted to milk cows to 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 at night. Kind of eventually I seen, at the time was the Lely Ep.4, and in 2016 we took the step and we put 3 Lely Ep.4s in. At that time, Vector was coming to North America-ish. I think the very first one was coming in, and I loved the concept at the time of feed the need, fresh feed all the time kind of thing. But wasn't sure about it, and wanted to see what we could do with it in the States. Then in 2020-ish, 2021, started really exploring it again, and we took the leap last summer, about a year ago now. We started ours up now.
Right. So it's been kind of it took a little time for you guys to go through
to really to really jump into it. At the time, we didn't know what we were going to gain. Can we gain more than what we were doing? We were doing really well with the way we were. I have a really good guy doing my mixing, very dependable, does a great job. So it was one of those deals. Do we really need to do it? Is it the right thing for us? Then the conversation kind of was had with him of he might be looking to do something different. So then it became my thing of, am I doing the mixing? How am I fitting that into my schedule? Am I going to try to train somebody to be as good as he is? or what. And then that's when we kind of really stepped into looking more into the vector, harder into the vector.
Yeah, so a little bit more of a backstory here, just to fill a little bit of the gaps in as well is, you're not wrong. I mean, 2015, 2016, is that right, Dan? 2015, is that when we put the first MFR into the US?
Yeah, I want to say it was 14 in Pennsylvania.
14 over in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So, we had a few in Canada going. That the vector actually, I think, came out commercially in 2012.
Yeah.
But from your farm specifically, one of the things that was interesting, and this is why we also invited Jason here today, is we had a lot of interest in farms right away in that 2015, 2016, 2017 years. A lot of 65, 70, 75, 80 pound herds. Jason's farm, he was underselling a little bit on their evolution of where they've been, but high production, well-managed farm. Prior to the vector, you were harvesting, I think, 7,000 pounds of milk a robot, even prior to putting the vector in.
Yep, roughly about 7,000. Yep.
And rolling herd, you're right up in that high 90s, 100.
Yeah, right around 100 we were averaging. Yeah, upper 90s, 100. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So when you talk about then the some of the factors that led you to think about vector, I mean, that really took 2.5 years of looking into it.
Correct. Yeah, because we didn't know how much better can you become on that end of it. Can we see a bump in production? We weren't real sure at the time if it was possible or what we were going to, but it all, in the end now, obviously looking back, it all makes sense with fresh feed to need and stuff. You're a healthier gut, now you can get them out of the gate a little bit quicker as a fresh cow. She's taking off a little quicker. Well, now you see a little bit of bump in her overall lactation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that's all hindsight. At the time you didn't know it.
So. Nope. That's right. And we'll dig a little bit more into that too.
Sure.
But Dan, you've been here a while. You've been with the vector quite a while. What's your philosophy on when we think about maybe the 30,000 foot view on ideal feeding? What do you think it is?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, we have systems. The first one started in Ontario, and then spread across Canada, like you said. But a lot of farms have different goals. But in the end, what ideal feeding for everybody is the right ration to the right cows 24/7 to me. So it's there's a lot of challenges. Every farm has a little different challenge of how to do that and how to deliver the most accurate ration, and make sure that it's available to the cows 24/7 without wasting a lot of feed as well too, right? That's the other side of it. So I think Tower View is a perfect example of a herd that I mean, like you said, you guys were doing a great job, but when you look at automation, it allowed you to do some things that maybe you weren't able to do before, right? As far as feed to the need and things like that. So, but yeah, like I said, just right ration to the right cows, at the right time, which is all the time.
Yeah, I guess I would echo the same sentiment. I mean, we've got an animal that's designed to be a grazing animal, and he, depending on what your situation is, whether we're feeding beef as well, you're given the opportunity to eat the best feed. They are biologically designed to do that. Mm. So, we're really taking what a producer's doing today on his time and trying to make it look like what can we do more on her time. When she comes to the bunk, is that feed available? Is it to Dan's point, the right ration? And is it the same bite of feed at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday as it is on Saturday at 3 p.m.?
Sure.
Right. Yep. I think we're kind of talking the same language, but I think that's in my mind, that's kind of what ideal feeding is as well. So, to follow through with that, so we kind of figured out what we think ideal feeding is. Why is that important?
Well, I mean, you want the the cow, they have I sold them just a little bit of, what we always did was we always fed once a day. We dumped the feed out in the morning, usually between 6 and 7:30. So everybody rushes to the bunk and eats. Well, by 7:30 at night, that feed it might be the same, but obviously it's been picked through. We had the Juno pushing feed up, but now it doesn't matter for the girl. She can come up, all right, here comes the vector. While she's laying, she's comfortable. She doesn't need to get up for fresh feed. It's coming. Just going to take a little bit. In a little while, there'll be another round coming. So she's able to just kind of be herself, like you said, just kind of chill out and be her and do the things she needs to do versus us kind of forcing her up there at 6 o'clock or 6:30 to get the freshest of the fresh feed all the time.
So, Jason, how many times a day do your milk cows get fed kind of on average, ballpark?
About 12. Well, 12 times we're running around with them on average.
To each feed fence or on each group?
It would be the main milking herd is fed about 12 times a day. Okay. Yep. And we have, how should I say this now? We have, it would be the four main feed groups of milking cow ration that they're feeding.
Right. Okay. Which, Dan, how many different groups can we feed?
Yeah, I mean, basically it's unlimited in the end. It all comes down to how much time in the day do we have to mix the feed, right? So it takes 20 to maybe 40 minutes for a more complex full ration to mix and deliver and do the round. So it's kind of limited. But as far as the number, I mean, if it's a short loop, like say a beef farm you alluded to before, where it's multiple pens, it's almost the sky's the limit, depending on the capacity, how far it needs to drive. So.
Right. So the graphic we have up is really about, the uniqueness of at least the Lely Vector product, that it's you've said it already, the feed to need. And you can see a hand there on that slide with a little laser on it, but that's really the driving difference between us and everything else on the market, is that we're really trying to identify and feed based on the dry matter intakes of the groups. It's not on a time, it's not on a schedule. It's completely based off of when cows get down below a certain level that it comes back and feed again. So I'm thinking about this as we're talking. And Dan, you and I had talked about this a little bit earlier today about a farm in Iowa, but I'm going to ask a question to see what happens here, because you never know. So heat events, that we've had this summer.
Yep.
Cows tend not to eat during the heat of the day.
Yep.
The vector probably not feeding. How did that navigate through like a heat event at your place?
So it did seem like we were feeding more as the sun went down at the end of the day. It definitely changes. So we have a tunnel vented barn. When it's hot, they want to eat down at where the air intake is. So it's definitely mixing a lot more at those fences per se. So obviously cow behavior becomes, you notice a lot more in cow behavior now than what you did before. Because otherwise you dumped out, your batch of feed. Sure, we went in with the skid steer after a while and kind of evened it out. But they want to eat down at one end of the barn. It's constantly mixing for those fences per se, especially when it's hot. In the wintertime, the exact opposite. They want to be at the other end of the barn eating. So now it'll flip-flop exactly where they're eating based off of that. But you definitely see it running more often at night or lower light hours, I guess you would say, that it's turning around. That's when the girls turn on a little bit more for feed.
So from, we're kind of going to go all over the place here, but hopefully get a lot of questions answered. But typically during heat, we would have probably more feed refusal in a typical situation, feeding with a TMR.
Yep.
Are you feeding maybe a little bit tighter?
Yes.
So that we're not having feed sitting there and getting hot during the day?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, we'll run
just letting it come more often.
Yep. We'll run it definitely a little lower. When it is hot, we push refusals away about once a week, maybe I'll say between 4 and 7 days before we'll actually go in and shut that fence down and scrape them up. Just because, you know, that you get a little buildups in the corner and just get that out of there.
Yep.
So they're not picking at that.
So with not a heat event, the typical spring, summer, fall day that's 80 degrees, not dripping humidity.
Yep.
How often would you clean the feed refusals out?
About 2 weeks ish. I mean, when we run a dryer for a while, we had a little drier corn silage. So we had some longer leaves that, you know, they wouldn't eat. Then we cleaned up a little more often, but otherwise, when everything is to what I would call my ideal moistures, we're running about 2 weeks. In the wintertime, we actually ran about a month before we actually.
Interesting.
Which
I would imagine that the feed quality has a lot to do with that.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thinking back at, you know, talking about heat and feed, and, you know, did you, you know, maybe a more typical system that we see, we would see dry matter intakes go down, and milk kind of follows that.
Yeah.
You know, during the heat, did you see any problem with dry matter intakes or?
Not noticeably. I mean, you do get a 24-hour fluctuation no matter what, you know, just the cow varying when she eats kind of thing. She's not on a 24-hour clock. She's on her own clock. So we seen very little downtick on dry matter intakes during the heat. I think they were just eating it at a different time, and it was fresh for them to eat it at that time.
Right. And so what you're seeing on your screen now is actually a screenshot of a small portion of the Horizon page that shows the dry matter intake widget in analysis. But that is one of the things that we can see now, because we're measuring the feed that's going out. We know the pounds of feed that's going out. We know the amount of head in a group. So now we can actually get dry matter intakes on those groups. And I'm assuming that's something that's important for you to look at least from a trend basis.
Yeah, definitely. You look at it and you see, and you can actually break that down and see fence by fence. Like we have one side of our barn, we have 2 robots, and on the other side, we have 1 robot. That single robot side, I tried to keep our heifers on. Doesn't always work out that way, but I can see that they're eating 56 pounds of dry matter versus my older, more mature cows. They're eating 63 pounds of dry matter. Now you can dial in your ration based off of that. If you do have a group that's, you know, maybe your lighter milkers and stuff, well, you can dial them back as needed and save yourself some protein and other goodies if needed. And
which is awesome.
You can dial it in more to what they're producing.
Does your nutritionist appreciate being able to actually see this a little bit better, this data?
Yep.
Yeah.
Joel and Jason, we have a question that comes in that's tied to what you're talking about right now with the weather. I'll put it up on the display here. But how is feed fresher than a regular TMR if feed's taken from a pile and then put in the kitchen for the rest of the day? Should the kitchen be filled 2 or 3 per day to keep it fresh, especially during hot weather?
Good question.
Yeah. So yes, it doesn't make sense how it can be. I mean, I'm on board with this question right here, because it's like, yeah, you already are breaking it open. You're bringing it in the kitchen. It's still taking in the oxygen, but there isn't that, I don't know, I'm going to say the mixing factor isn't there. You haven't actually took it and broke it into, you know, mixed everything in. Now it's dumped out in front of them, and you got cows going through, nosing it, moving down the line, getting what they, you know, the goodies that they can grab out without taking everything. Yes, that's where I feel like you're. How would you say it? That's how I would say it seems fresher, because now it's coming out. It's freshly mixed. We did take or go ahead.
No, that comment is spot on.
Yep.
Or the question's spot on. The comment is spot on. We get that question a lot, but having these separate ingredients inside the feed center, that's not mixed together. Yes, I think you would agree, and maybe you're doing this yourself, but maybe on hotter days, are you splitting that up and maybe not bringing all the corn silage in?
Yes, that's what
those hotter days.
Yep,
You know,
when we're
maybe
really
twice a day.
Yep, that's what we'll do. We'll bring like half of the silage in in the morning, and then at night we'll bring the other half in.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that with the system is, you can do that, but you have a window, right? It doesn't have to be at 6 p.m. every single day, because the vector, from the cow's perspective, it doesn't change, right? She's still getting fed.
She's still getting fed. Yep. As long as you keep commodities, you can fill it 3 times a day. That would be great if you want to take the time to do it. And you can do it that way if, let's say, in the morning you wake up and you got herd check. Well, so you go and put a bucket of everything in there. It's doing its thing. Now you got to do your other stuff. There's flexibility there, and as long as there's feed there for the vector to keep mixing, you can fill it whenever you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I would agree with what you were saying with the mixing factor. And all the different ingredients are put together, and then it's on the feed fence. The cows are picking through it. It's getting pushed up. So it's getting churned, right, throughout the day, which adds more air into it, and then slowly degrades it over time. And in the end, it's still we do have the ability with blocks to put it in, so it keeps the compaction, cutting it out of the bunk instead of pulling it. But like in your case, you put piles in in your feed kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And there just isn't much oxygen that gets incorporated when it's not being basically handled by either machine or cow all day long.
Yeah, we use bags, so we bring ours in on we load it right up on a dump trailer and haul it in and dump it on a pile there. The one thing I will say, what we've started doing now is we do treat our forages with inoculants. Now, we hadn't done that in the past, which we've always had good luck without it, but we've done it now just because of the feed sitting in the kitchen for the 24-hour window kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, great question. It's one that we get a lot, and I think that given the amount of data that we've seen back and the amount of herds that we have on it, that you're going that direction with consistently delivering fresh batches.
Right.
While it may not be the freshest feed that's in the kitchen, but fresh batches continually being put out in front of them maybe trumps a little bit of that could happen with eating.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I see we got another question. Are Lely customers that have a vector seeing increased production? How much of a production increase can a producer expect? That's funny because, well, it's not a funny question. It's a great question. Again, this is super awesome. We were actually just talking about this an hour or so ago. And maybe this goes kind of into the ROI discussion, but I want you to talk about what went through your mind and what that looks like.
Yeah. So we were being a high producing herd. We didn't think we'd see a lot, but it's hard to put a number to it. But we've seen an uptick in butterfat. I'm going to say conservatively, we're up 0.3 of a pound butterfat, and we're up about 0.2 of a pound on protein. Is it all vector? I'm not going to say that. I'm not the salesman, so I can say.
I'm going to say that.
Yeah, he is. Obviously, a lot of things come into that, feeds and all of that good stuff. We did see an uptick on pounds per robot harvested due to the fact that it leveled our visits out to the robots. So what we were seeing, or what I was seeing, was 3-4 o'clock in the morning. If you happen to be out in the barn, everybody was laying. Robots were kind of quiet, not a lot of activity around it. The bunk was pretty well cleaned up because we fed to a very tight bunk previously before vector with our conventional feeding. So not a lot of feed for them to pick through. Well, my guy would come up with the skid steer at 6:30 to push up the remaining refusals that were there. All right, everybody knew, fresh feed is coming. So they'd start getting up, meandering over to the feed bunk, waiting for the wagon to come to dump it out there. All right, fresh feed comes. Now they go up, eat, and then they go and slug at the robot. So we'd see this heavy milking 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, now you turn that cow around on her milking schedule, so now they're always slugging at the robots. Once we did the vector, my 3 a.m. visits leveled out. So now I was able to get more milk coming out of the robots because we were utilizing our time essentially at the robot as well.
Yeah.
So how maybe I missed it. Did you like how many total milkings do you think you might have gained in a day?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't have an answer off the top of my head.
Sure.
I'm going to say, could you say 9 milkings with 3 robots, 3 milkings an hour, twice a day? So that would be 9. I'm going to say 18 milkings ish.
Okay.
If I guess off the top of my head, 18 individual cows milking.
Yep.
Yep.
How you'd say it.
Nice.
But now on top of that too, you don't have the slug of cows. We don't have that slug of cows standing at the robot waiting to milk at 9 a.m. So that leveled that out. They'd be, typically they were standing there letting milk down, leaking, so now she's more comfortable throughout the rest of the day just because she didn't have that stress of standing there and, all of that good stuff too.
But ultimately what happened was it's increasing the efficiency of your robot downtime.
Yes. Yep.
That they now have uptime by
Correct.
because they're milking.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I do think there is also a comfort to it of her not just standing there waiting to milk. She can meander around and get in there easier. Part of that was, I should say, we still do. We run a very tight free time on our farm.
Yeah.
Always have, even before
Yep.
the vector. So that's when I say they slug at the robots. Everybody would say, well, that's because your free time is too tight. Well, that was probably part of it as well, yes.
Yeah.
The vector is definitely even that help that.
So to kind of follow along with that thought on production, and I've told Dan this and a number of people this. I don't know how many PowerPoint presentations you have with 100 slides each, and I have probably 40 different presentations. But if I had to whittle everything down to 2 slides, it would be the slide I showed with the hand with the laser on it, and it would be this rumen health data. So this came from a study that was done in Europe on it was actually on a beef farm. It wasn't on a dairy farm, but I suspect the same thing is happening based on the fact that we're getting increased milk or increased fat and increased protein.
Yep.
Is by feeding more often and having the same bite be all the same. We're not seeing those big starch and carbohydrate events that they're slugging down. This rumen health data was done on a farm that was limousine cattle. They brought the cattle in, separated them in half. So a group of 12, they would take 6 and go to one side of the farm and 6 go to another barn, and did that over 30 months. They did the study. So one side was fed a ration with a self-propelled mixer, and the other side was fed with the mixing and feeding robot. Same ration, just fed differently. Feed to need versus one time a day. But they started cutting rumens open, and what you find out is all the things that happen from too much starch or slugging down. You get starry scars, you get the plaque buildup in a rumen that it decreases the efficiency of the papillae to absorb the micronutrients and do the things it's supposed to do, as well as maintaining that good bacteria that's in that gut. Well, it's kind of small for me, but hopefully you guys can see this. But in every case, whether it's hyperkeratosis, the starry scars, the plaques, we were reducing the number of those things that were happening in the rumen by anywhere from 60 to 95%, which in my mind is telling us that, yes, if we're keeping the pH in that rumen pretty much on a straight line versus these dips and valleys,
Sure.
which remember the DHI reports?
Yep.
And you get that cow that 140 pounds of milk, but her fat protein was inverted.
Yep.
This is, I think, showing that by feeding more often, we kind of get away from those events that happen.
Sure.
And allow that rumen to do what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we see that through increased milk, increased fat, increased protein.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this slide was pretty good at showing that.
We have a couple more questions coming in. Want to make sure that we try to get to the ones that we can. I'll pop up the next one here. Mason sent a question in, and what are the most common breakdowns you see in the machine itself. Have you had to feed with a truck or wagon when it's gone down?
No, we're in it a year. We haven't had an issue with that. I've had to get a mixer in. I have gone through a set of straps on my crane, which is a typical wear item. We've had a board go down on one of the MFRs, but the way we're set up, we are able to get away with just one MFR for a while. And it was a Sunday morning deal. I left it run. I didn't want to call support on a Sunday, believe it or not. That was nice to my guys. So we didn't call it in. We ran all day without
It wasn't Christmas Eve and
no,
30 below?
It was deer hunting time though. So I wanted to be somewhere else as well. But yeah, that's been about it. Just wear and tear, and then that one board. We had some communication issues, I guess, out of the gate, but it took a little bit. Once we figured it out, that was an issue. That's all taken care of. So yeah.
Which is, and it's a great question. It's one that we talk about when we go through the ROI process and as well. But for those that are online, just as an FYI, we are into our second generation now of mixing feeding robots, and actually we're validating the third generation here shortly that will be available commercially next year. But the biggest difference between what you have at your place that's commercially available right now today and what we came out with in 2012, 2013, 2014 is did a lot of work on electronics, did a lot of work on things like the mixing bin is all stainless now. The original was mild steel with a stainless liner. And it actually didn't even come with the stainless liner at first. It was just a mild steel that over time we've learned how that works. And same with the screw. The screw is stainless. The feed grabber is stainless now, and all the components in the grabber. So the things that we learned, just like we did on the milking robots, where the Ep.4, when it comes out, you're already working on the top 10 things to fix on the Ep.4 to get the Ep.5.
Right, sure.
We're doing the same things on the feeding side. Look at the top 10 issues, and the next generation, we try to take care of those things.
Yeah, and with all of our Lely centers, but Central Ag does an amazing job. They have 24/7 service, right? So I mean, it's one of those where, like you said, you don't want to call them, but if you can, they're there, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they're a phone call away, and a lot of it I can do myself. It's just a matter of what do I need to do. So I'm fairly inept at being able to do that type of stuff. So mechanically inclined, I guess, would be the way of putting it. So, but they're great with just, what do I need to do? Yep, go through this, and I mean, a lot of it's fairly simple to get into.
Cool.
Nice.
Yep, there's some more questions I see.
The next one here, maybe Joel, you can answer that one. Can a vector work on an XL herd?
Yeah, and it's a great question again, and I think it's the same philosophy as looking at the milking robots. It took a little bit of time to figure out or decide how we could make that work in a modular way on larger farms, but in a similar fashion, yes, we have to think about it a little bit differently on an XL herd. That it may not be a single kitchen. It may be 2 kitchens or 3 kitchens on a farm where you're bringing feed to different locations on the place. But if it ROIs for one, it ROIs for every module. And we just have to get through our head that we're not going to be able to feed 1,000 cows with 2 MFRs. Right. It's going to be 4 or 6, and it depends on how we're going to locate them around the place. Yeah. Now, with that said, and what many people may not know is, you have a very traditional system with the 2 MFRs and a grabber, is that we can also utilize tower silos. We can also utilize boxes, whether they be forage wagons or purpose-built commodity box that we can fill. And with the boxes, we can fill an MFR quite a bit faster, which increases the capacity. So we're sitting down and talking to farms right now that are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 cows, and looking at ways that we can use the vector technology to do that. So
yeah, and one of the other things that comes up pretty common in those conversations is, do you have a bigger one? And and the answer's no. We have one size, and the reality is, when it comes down to it, what we still want to do is make sure, kind of like what Jason said earlier, feed those animals 8, 10, 12 times a day. And in order to do that, you need to have, a certain size mixer to have an accurate batch. And so the unit right now is sized, so if you look at a pen size, that we're still accurately mixing, a ration into those, especially the milk cows, that many times a day to just keep that consistent ration, and and still have the ability to feed those smaller groups accurate as well too.
Which is a good point, Dan. That sometimes maybe depending on the size of the XL herd, to maybe prove, that the system will give us your dry cows, let us show you what it can do on those dry cows.
Right.
But again, that maybe is dependent on, are you 5,000 cows, 10,000 cows, but we might not be there yet for 10,000 or 5,000, but we're working on it.
Yeah. We'll go to the next question here. It's great that they're coming in here.
Yeah.
The next one is, Jason, what kind of investment did you have to make to put in the system?
Are you comfortable saying that number?
I don't know if I have it all in front of me exactly what to say. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on a year or two. So we put a building up. We put a 35 by 130 building, roughly, basically a pole shed with a lot of big overhead doors. We got the grabber. We put 3 feed bins. We utilized 2 of the feed bins on farm. Bunch of flex augers to get the commodities to dump in. That's about it. Then the vector system itself, the grabber and the 2 MFRs. So now you start throwing your electricity and electrician doing his power and stuff.
Would $500,000 cover that?
I would say, that would be a fair estimate.
For
a year ago, that would have been
for the whole shebang.
Yes, I would say about $500,000.
Which I think we covered
slightly under that. I would say about 480 is off the top of my head.
Yeah, which I think we did on the ROI. I think we put those numbers in there.
Yeah, and I think you just brought it up, Joel. In the end, the investment is one thing, but what's the return?
Correct.
On it, right? And you, the 2 of you looked at that.
So and again, when we did it initially, we put a half pound in.
Correct.
And if we were to do that again today, what number would you put in the ROI?
Probably 2 pounds, I would say, would be safe.
Would be safe.
We've
seen more.
Yes.
But
definitely.
Which goes along with, I think, Dan, your and I philosophy on that is we know that there's more milk to be gained.
Absolutely.
But there's some seasonality to it. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I think we're pretty comfortable with 2 as well. I see another question down there, Dan, on the feedback.
It's oops. I
think it was
clicked off of it here. It said something about here. Jason mentioned that they cleaned the feed fence less often. Did the total amount of feed you cleaned out decrease?
Yes, definitely. Typically, when we were feeding conventionally, I would estimate we were cleaning up. We never weighed our refusals. I'm going to say 600-700 pounds amongst all the milking cows a day. Yes, we utilized that feed. It didn't go to waste. It wasn't like it got dumped on the spreader or anything. But now when we do clean up, whenever that is, a week or 2 weeks or month, you're looking at maybe 200 in that time. I mean, it's definitely less. And then a lot, like I said before, a lot of that is the leaves that they're just not palatable, or the crud that builds up in the corner over time because they don't lick, right tight to the corner. and stuff.
So just doing the math in my head there, if it was every 2 weeks, you're talking like 200 versus 4,200 pounds.
Sure. Yep. That would be a fair estimate. Yes. Now, depending on what you do with your refusals, it's not like they're always wasted or anything, but yes.
No,
Absolutely.
but accounting for that, is, and we talk about that when we go through and actually do sit down and do the ROI is a leftover milk cow ration day to day that you're feeding to your heifers really the best thing
Correct.
to be feeding
Yes.
your heifers? Now, to be fair,
Yes.
we're not going to throw that in a pile.
Correct. Yep.
And it's worth something.
Yes.
But
what is it worth?
but it's a different feed every day.
Yes.
It's been sorted up through spit on, wind, rain,
Yeah.
hail, all the things, right? And
Correct.
so now you're actually able to feed your heifers the actual heifer diet.
What they're supposed to get.
So as your heifer diet had to have cheapened up.
I can't
Somewhat.
say that offhand. It probably has. Yeah. I guess I can't honestly say that it has. So.
I forgot to ask you that question
Yes,
last
you
week to think about.
Yep. No, I can't say honestly if it would have or not. But back to the whole point of eating that feed. It wasn't probably the best form. No, probably not. But it's like I say.
Yeah.
Being a cheap bull, you try to utilize it where you can.
Well,
Yeah.
that's we're exceptionally good. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh yeah, no, I in the end you're trying to capture as much out of it as you possibly can, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what. But
Nobody
we do
uses
see.
more manure to haul, so why?
Oh, absolutely.
Why throw it there?
Yeah, absolutely. But in a lot of farms, we do see, if you're feeding the heifers with the vector as well, that they do really, really well with them just because they're getting that custom ration right per pen for the size of the animals. Versus the leftover feed too. So there's some nice advantages to gain that way as well with the system. So we had another one come in here. Joel, how many herds over 500 are currently fed with vectors?
I would say that we're probably at a handful right now. It's we've got 2 systems that are commissioned already in Minnesota that are double feed or double cranes with 4 MFRs. More information to follow on those. And like I mentioned earlier, we are in active talks with herds that are 1,000, 1,500, 1,200, 1,800. It's just a matter of sitting down and going through the math with them right now. But in Europe, we have quite a number of herds that are well over 500 pounds that have 3 and 4 feed centers or 3 and 4 kitchens on their place. So it's not out of the realm that it can be done. And from a feedlot side, which has gained a lot of traction in the last 6 months, 12 months, I think we all know where the beef industry is at the moment. Right. We're seeing a big uptick in that, and based on their dry matter intakes, we can feed 1,000 head of feedlot animals with 2 MFRs and a crane or a crane in a box. And it gets very economical to do that for the feed efficiency and average daily gain numbers we're seeing. So good question. And we're slowly working our way up into to bigger farms.
We had another one just pop up here. Jason, if you were to do it all again, would it have changed anything?
No, I wouldn't. I'm content with what we have. I don't see anything major different that we could have done. I would say nothing.
Sure. That's nice. That doesn't happen too often.
I mean, maybe some minor tweaks of where's layout of like our high moisture bin and stuff like that, but nothing drastic.
Sure.
So Dan, I'm going to put you on the spot and take this question that we just had and rephrase it as we've heard at several meetings and roundtables. Is if you were to give up one thing, which one would you give up? The robots or the vector?
Oh yeah. We ask that to people all the time, and in the end, they don't want to give up either. But if they had to choose, a lot of the times it's the milking robot that they would give up first, just because the feeding system is a really great payback and get some great response from it. The cool part about it though, right, is they work really well hand in hand together. They're pretty complementary systems.
Yeah, absolutely. A few more things here as we still have a little bit of time left, but we talked a little bit about flexibility on, with a feed center, whether it's blocks or it's loose feed, that, you set it up so it's not a same time every day. So there's some flexibility there, but flexibility as well with number of groups that can be fed. Consistency, we've probably talked about that a little bit, but having the same device or the same system, mixing, delivering, doing all of that, there's a lot to be said for consistency of bringing those loads in. But part of that consistency is also accuracy. We were talking about that a little bit ago, about what the industry standard is and then what we're trying to achieve. And, Dan, what, from a industry standard, what, thinking 95% is kind of where everybody kind of shoots for.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Right around that 95%. You can get better than that. And the reality is, a great conventional, a feeder, a human can mix as accurately as the vector if they're a very precise person, right? The question is, are they going to be as precise on Christmas morning when they want to
Saturday,
get inside?
Sunday.
And maybe they still do, right? Maybe they still want to be accurate, but are they going to come back and deliver that same ration 12 times through the day? Right. So, I mean, if you're feeding, and Jason, you kind of alluded to that earlier, if you feed at 6 a.m. once a day feeding, at 10 a.m. that changes versus, now what you're talking about, if it's feeding 12 times a day, every 2 hours, they're getting that exact ration. So from a cow's perspective on consistency, you could be 98% on a traditional feeding system and the same on the vector. But from a cow's point of view, it's more consistent, right, throughout the day.
Throughout the day, because it's not changing like it would be feeding once a day.
Correct.
It's changing.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at this number.
Yeah.
And early on, and to be fair and transparent with everybody who's listening, Horizon, when we made the change to Horizon from T4C, the time for cows, the software that runs everything, including the robots and the vector. When Horizon came out, not very long ago, what was that, year and a half? Like the first of 2024.
Yeah, that could be somewhere there, yeah.
Very, very robot heavy. Right?
Yeah.
There was not a lot of widgets and data that we could utilize on the vector side.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've talked about that early on with some of the data, whether it was generating correctly or.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen improvements in all of that.
Oh yeah, they're getting better.
But the feeding side is following along after all the robot stuff. But we're starting to get all of these kind of things are starting to get ironed out and become more comprehensible and usable numbers. Whether that's
or make it worth something.
Like the dry matter widget, the
Right.
loading accuracy.
Right. Yep.
We've got another validation herd in Wisconsin that's been very vocal about these things on making sure they're correct. And those are helpful when we have actual using herds that are looking at these things, trying to make sure that what you see is relevant and useful. So, yeah. Dan, what else can you think of?
Hold on. Can I just say one thing? Back to a question previously about something, if there was anything I would change. I did think of something.
Okay.
Ventilate your feed center. We put a small 2-foot fan in. I would look at, I don't want to say tunnel venting it, but keeping that, in the summertime when the sun beats on the building, or I guess you could go as far as saying maybe insulated. That would help keep your feed more stable and stuff too. Because when it's closed up, it's a tin can. it gets hot in there. You wouldn't think it. I walk in my kitchen, my feed center. It's actually warmer than my barn, being tunnel vented barn, but it's definitely something to look at and have the conversation about it.
You got all that.
Keeping enough
You got all
fresh air
that.
moving
Yeah,
through
you got all that humidity from that
it
feed.
sits in it. Yes.
And yeah, we've talked to people all the time about that now when we're looking at their feed center of if it's not galvanized or stainless, it's going to probably get a little rust from the moisture on it, because unless you've got some ventilation pulling
that air out.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that up. Dan, what else can you think of that we should talk about?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. We don't see any more questions come in, but yeah, I mean, I think everybody that's watching right now, I really appreciate the questions that came in. We were kind of joking about that ahead of time before the conversation, just hoping that people would send them in, and you definitely delivered. So yeah, thank you all that sent in questions.
Yeah, especially since this is kind of a hybrid. We're trying not to work off a bunch of PowerPoints, which we've all become really good at. But I hope everyone appreciated Jason coming in and talking to us today as a producer. I think that lends a little different view on things than a couple of salespeople, talking back and forth. So thank you for that. And yeah, Dan, I don't know what else.
Yeah, no, just thank you everybody for attending, and there will be more of these coming up in the near future. And thank you, Joel, for facilitating and leading the discussion as well. So,
not a problem. Hopefully, everybody gained some knowledge out of this. If not, we are all available to be to have a discussion in the future. So, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.